Hello everyone and welcome to the program Business Point on Global Television. I am Samuel Odi. Many thanks for joining on today's edition of the program. And today we'll be looking at Naira stability, where the CBN intervention and the current implementation of new policies by the CBN and the Monetary Policy Committee team is helping the Nigerian Naira to be stabilized in the foreign exchange market, and that of automatically giving Nigerian Naira a bit of stability. So looking at all of this now, let me bring you up to speed with the current realities of Nigerian Naira. The Naira is expected to maintain stability this all through this week, which we've been witnessing. Ending the month of February, the Naira ended the trading section at 1,490 Naira in the parallel market, and then we've seen that stability all through this week as the Central Bank of Nigeria continues to intervene in the foreign exchange market and also improving its policies. The CBN had directed the change operators to purchase around 25,000 US dollars weekly from authorized dealers at the Nigerian foreign exchange market rates. On a month-on-month basis, the Naira closed flat as dollar was quoted at 1,500 during the last week of February 2025 at the last trading day of the month, which it was paired at 1,490 Naira quoted on 1,499 Naira quoted on February the 3rd, 2025, the first trading day of the month, as the Nigerian foreign exchange market released its data according to the Central Bank of Nigeria. But in the parallel markets, the popularly called black markets in Nigeria appreciated by 94 Naira to 1,505 Naira on Friday, the 28th of February, making it a 6.2% over 1,599 Naira per dollar exchange at the beginning of the month. So all of this now, we've seen the Naira being stabilized, and which has been one of the major plans of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and we are seeing this current initiative by the Central Bank of Nigeria helping the Nigerian Naira stabilize. That's all of those were attributed to the current Naira for Crude initiative that was also created by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So all of these initiatives now has totally, and in the long run, helping Nigerian Naira stabilize around 1,500 as projected by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in his 2025 budget. So we'll be having conversations around housing deficit in Nigeria. But before we get right into that conversation, we'll be going on a quick break, and when we return back, I'll be introducing my guests who would help us understand the cost of housing and what the government would need to do to help curb out high cost of housing in Nigeria as a whole. Do stay with us, we'll be right back. Yes, many thanks for staying with us. Now we are about to dive into the conversation about housing deficits in Nigeria, which has been a major concern, and we've seen data that says over 28 million houses. Nigeria has over a population of 100 and 200 million Nigerians living, and also there is need for houses. But another challenge is going on currently as we're facing this sector has to do with the current high costs of building houses, and also angles that has to deal with renting and all of that. So we have someone who is going to help us understand all of this in the person of Dr. Fatima Mohammed, CEO Babesico Concept. Thank you so much for joining us to this edition of Business Points.
Thank you. Welcome.
Yes. So now let's get into it, Hajia Fatima. Looking at all of this now, we've seen a whole lot of individuals talking and talking and talking now. A whole lot have said government, but at the end of the day, it still boils down to the government. So my question is, how can the government improve housing in Nigeria, and how can the government also regulate the cost of housing in Nigeria?
Okay, first of all, like as an individual,
yes,
we have work to do.
Okay.
It's not all about the government. So part of the government can collaborate with private sector, people that are in the real estate, and encourage them in order to facilitate cheaper,
and affordable
yes,
housing.
affordable houses.
Yes.
So, and also how to make it cheaper is also the use of the materials that we have here
Yes.
in home in order to make the building more affordable.
Yes.
Because, for example, if a person is building an estate or a house, let's say let's take for instance, if we're taking like 10,000 naira, someone is using 10,000 naira to build an estate or a house.
Yes.
So you don't expect that person that is using that amount to give a rent like lesser.
Than that.
Yes.
Okay.
So
All right. We'll go on a quick break. When we return back, you'll dive in more and then we'll get more input from what you're saying. Many thanks for staying with us, and as we're having the conversation, so you made mention of the cost of building a house, and you said if someone starts building with like 10,000, automatically he's expected to get a certain amount of profit. But what if someone builds with 10,000? What is a reasonable profit that somebody can attach to such a house?
how to make it is one of the key point is to use the Nigerian made materials in order to build the housing. So if we use our materials here, the rental will be cheaper. Yes, that is what I'm trying, the point I'm trying to make.
Okay,
Yes.
looking at all of those now, actually, most of the equipment we have here in Nigeria are very strong and durable, and then we can be able to use them to build affordable housing. But you're also very big in farming, Dr. Fatima. So let's look at it now. The major driver of inflation in Nigeria now currently is the high cost of food items. Now, how can Nigerians now and the governments improve the agricultural sector in Nigeria?
So the government can train the citizen in the field of agriculture,
Yes.
and after that he can give, let's say, empower them. And when you put more the youths and citizen in this aspect, you see that automatically the agricultural aspect will go down.
Yes, okay. You mean to say having youth in this sector is actually going to help the
Yes,
agricultural
more youths.
sectors
Yes.
grow. You've lived most of your time in the UAE, and I'm sure you have seen a whole lot of policies that is working there that you think Nigerians can adapt to help build the economy, which is what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is out to do. So, what, as an individual, I know you have plans to help women in agriculture. What plans do you have? And you rightly mentioned earlier that you have collaborations with Bank of Agriculture. So, how do you intend to facilitate those plans to help women and youths in agriculture?
We have a foundation called the Dr. Fatima's Foundation. It's a foundation where we help the youth and women we train them, and also we financially support them. For example, in the aspect of agriculture, we have a school that we train the women and the youth. We teach them everything that has to do with agriculture, and also after they have graduated, we empower them, and doing that, it will enable them to work on their own as an individual, and also it reduces the poverty rate.
Reducing of poverty rate is actually very, very key. I want to say a very big thank you to you, Dr. Fatima, for taking out time to join us on today's edition of Business Point.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and then this is how much time will permit us to take on today's edition of Business Points. I want to say a very big thank you to Dr. Fatima Muhammad, who is a CEO of Babasticos Concepts here in Abuja. Thank you so much for all of your inputs, and this is how much time will permit us to take. I'll see you again as we talk more business. Bye for now.